Well, good Sunday morning to everybody. I'm looking forward to getting together with the tribe today. Romans. Romans. Such a brilliant letter to the church in Rome. Reading chapters 4, 5, 6, 7. I do not like how they've separated in this chronological reading chapters 8 from 6 and 7. I believe that all three have to be read together, because people have so misunderstood what Paul is saying. But the takeaway really from today is from this brilliant explanation of how we have been separated from the control of sin. Paul compares it to marriage and how we were married to it, and we have been separated from it by death. But he poses a couple questions here as he's explaining grace and he's explaining liberty, which a lot of people still don't get today, because it's very difficult for us. We have a lot of fear in trying to explain the freedom that we've been brought into, that we can do whatever we want, but we choose not to do whatever we want because of love, and love sets these limits. And to make his point, Paul is saying, so what are we saying? Are we saying that we should sin more so that God's brilliance could shine more, so that his grace could be more obvious to people? He says, what a terrible thought, he said. What a terrible thought. So he must have been responding to something that had been written to him. And then a little later he writes the same thing, and he says, so now that we have this freedom to do whatever we want, does that mean that we're free just to sin however we want? And again he turns around and says, what a terrible thought. Because our response to such freedom is to absolutely love the one who's liberated us. And in wanting to love him, we choose his righteousness. That's the choice that we make. Because of love, we limit our freedom, and because sin no longer has any influence on us. He has no control over us. We don't give ourselves over to sin anymore. We are a new creation, and there's a new dominance in our life. And we've talked about this before, that the biggest challenge we have in our lives is breaking the sin habit. It's not that it has any control of us. It's just that is our that's a habit that we have. And I just love how Paul explains here the place of law, because we were reading yesterday how God's nature is really written into us, but the fallen nature of humanity has smothered that. And what happens, what Paul writes today, is that law had the responsibility of bringing that rebellion, of bringing that sin into light, so that we could see it and realize how far we have fallen short of God's glory. And so law exposes that sin, and in some cases, Paul says that the law makes us sin. The law lets us know that a longing for something that doesn't belong to us is sin, is rebellion. It goes against the nature of God. And so that has been destroyed, broken off from us. We've been separated from that, so that that law is in its proper place, as a warning, and not as a controller. The controller is the love of our God. And yeah, and the whole explanation of righteousness, the fact that there's nothing that we could do to earn that whatsoever, that our only thing is to believe, in comparison with Abraham, who believed the promise, and because he believed the promise, that was credited to him as righteousness. So righteousness was appointed to him because he chose to believe. And because we choose to believe that Jesus died for us, and because he died for us, that we have been separated from sin and the control of sin, and we've been separated, or the acts of sin have been covered and forgiven by grace, and that as we have died with him, we have also been raised to life in him. We choose to believe this, and so we are called righteous. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Just go back and read over it again. There's so much in there. There's so much. There's no possible way I could talk about that in 5 to 7 minutes. I just wanted to highlight those things to you. We are in this incredible, wonderful relationship, and we have this assurance. It's absolutely sure. We can walk in its boldness. We walk on this planet as new creations in boldness, under no condemnation whatsoever, and we can freely do the will of our Father, not worrying that sin has cut us off from that, because that sin has been covered. Brilliant, eh? You guys be blessed. Love you all, and we will see you shortly.